Hi everybody, welcome back. Since early 2014, we are producing online tutorials covering how to make and decorate cakes for you. I'd like to thank you one more time for all your wonderful comments and reviews that makes us so motivated and continue doing more. When I look back, I see that we were not covering much at all behind the scene topics. Maybe I should say in bracket, including before and after the cake topics. That will be better expression. So I decided to do some videos about these matters to make sure that nothing is unspoken. Based on our true years of experience from our business, which I'm retired from. I have an idea. I'd like to tell you a story of a cake order, in step by step. I plan that to cover in multiple episodes starts with someone get in touch with you and asking for a cake. And after that, all sorts of things happens. Like starts from the office, continue in the kitchen, back to the office, everything's happened. And it finishes with the properly filing some documents with useful data for future reference. That means this episode number 1 will be about how to do a cake consultation. That is the first contact. It's a lot of things involved in there. Before I start doing that, let me share with you also what are the other episodes will be so that you know that all the episodes are linked to each other to understand the complete story. Second episode will be how to design the cake on paper. It always starts in an A4 page. After that, it maybe stops there, but it will be better if you do another drawing in life size. So I experienced that if I do that kind of action, either in front of customer or after the customer left before the second appointment, I present a life-size drawing. So there's nothing is sort of missing and people get what they see. In the third episode, I will talk about how to price the cake with itemization. I strongly believe that every cake decorator must have a reliable, fair and square system so that no cake is overcharged and no cake is undercharged. So that makes it your business is reliable, your business is trustworthy, and also like you have a fair and square system to price every cake for everybody the same. That needs to have some sort of system. I'm going to talk to you about it, how I did it in the years for thousands of cakes. Number 4 episode, we end up in the kitchen and we talk about how to plan and make the cake very rational, very sort of practical way. So you may be in a small business that only one cake at a time, or you may have multiple cakes in a week. You need to have a little bit more system in the kitchen, how to manage that without wasting too much time and energy. So I will also give you some details on that. Number 5 is how to document and deliver cake order. It is quite involved just to deliver a cake because now is the security is involved, like you dealing with someone's most important event and then your cake will make it or sort of like break it. So it is important how to deliver. I'll share with you some details that it makes it security for you. And then 6th episode will be quite short, actions to be taken after the cake is delivered. So experiences is to be sort of like teach you something that you can use it on the next order or next time. So that will be about that. At the end of the 6th episode, our story with all the manual activities will be finished. And don't believe that everybody, but I hope that some of you will say, from now on, I will do this instead of doing that. If that happened, my mission for this 6th episode of teaching will be accomplished. So, but I'd like to give you one more option. I like to underline option because it is a real option. If you're not interested, that part you don't have to watch because your learning is finished at the end of the 6th episode. That will be the 7th episode. I will do exactly the same cake, what we have done in that 6th episode, designing and pricing in one episode, but this time I will use computer. So to make this story a little more educational, I will talk all the topics in general so you can apply one thing but doing to the other cakes also at the same time. To make it a little more interesting, I will focus on one particular cake. That will be Romeo and Juliet cake. So why I choose that? Because I didn't want to make it just 3-tier straightforward cake with some flowers on it. I like to cover multiple concepts. Like there will be climbing flowers, there will be some sort of like a baroque sort of the vintage design balcony. The girl is like mesmerized listening the music from down there. The guy is playing the guitar. All those things will happen. Maybe a kind of at street light also. So we will see. So now I think it's time to talk about today's topic is consultation. Okay, steps of a cake order, episode number 1, how to do a cake consultation. First bullet point is the answering that question, where orders comes from. Basically, the orders comes from 2 places. One is the walk-in clients, which is, that means you have a front shop. So that is not really important here because I'm going to cover this one on the next bullet point, how this should your place to meet should be look like. All right. Second thing is your clients comes from with an appointment through an email, social media, phone, website, and magazine ads. Maybe some more other things, but this is the things that what we experience. Email, that means you should, in my opinion, you should have a kind of like designated email address which is only covers your orders, so you don't mix up with your private emails that you can lose some of the items in between. All right, it's like for example, like info at such and such, or orders at such and such, inquires or such and such. So something like that you should create for your business. Second thing is the social media. Of course, we are in the world of information, and then social media is the only place to be. And then first stage, all right? So more you have involved in the social media, like Facebook, Instagram, etc., then you will have a better sort of like a contact and then possibility to get in touch with people. About the phone, I remember that we were using this old type of dialing phones, like with the buttons or with the whatever. And earlier is actually the sort of like a wheel that has to be turned. So that is already obsolete. People I don't use a normal phone anymore because we have the mobile phones. But the thing is that it is important that when someone looking for a cake and then somehow that you've been chosen one of the inquiries that you can receive, but you don't answer your phone. So this already you lose your chance. That's it. There's no more comeback with that because people doesn't find you on the other side of the phone. They call somebody else and they start with them. So 2 things is make me very annoyed. If I call someone, any kind of like services, I don't get any answer. That's one thing. Second thing is I talk someone which is not a person, like either answering machine or a kind of machine or whatsoever. So that 2 things is for me is no. But at the same time, if you make yourself available for phone calls, you will be constantly disturbed while you're working. But at the same time, you have to find the balance. That means if you have a wireless earphone, you can just answer your every call you receive and shortly take a little message and you call back in the right time, whatever, but get in touch with people. Do not just make a wall in front of them so they cannot talk to you. So that's very important. Website. Website is your image without people see you. So that means your website, it presents you and your company, but it has to present more than your company. So you can actually, you are able to present yourself more than who you are. But it doesn't mean that you are cheating because your goal is to be bigger than who you are. Your space can be look bigger than what you have. So that is all something like a kind of goal that you want to reach, but you can reach visually in the website before then you get there, and it will be so encouragement for you that you are just trying to be that far and that standard. So that's important that your website is looked after either by yourself or by someone else, but constantly. So don't put something there about 5 years ago and don't touch anymore. So you have to update website all the time. That means you must have kind of, I have my son doing that. He is just unbelievable. That I don't think everybody has that kind of chance, but you must have some sort of support from other sites, other parties. Magazine ads, it's, you may say, I'm in the internet, I have Facebook, I have this and that, I don't need magazine ads. Well, we were saying that before also. So we have time that we don't advertise in magazine ads, and we have time we do advertise in magazine ads. Believe me, there's a different number of orders that we receive you have to advertise in magazines, especially that little booklets, that actually wedding booklets, so wedding books kind of thing, wedding magazines that brides takes it in their handbag and then go around, organize their wedding from actually 6 months or almost a year before, and then go around with this book in the hand and then taking notes and whatever it is. So it is important. We used to advertise every quarter. I think it was about a special deal, because we do this all the time, about 500 Australian dollar, but the order we take is more than that, so it always works. So let's talk about next bullet point, which is the place to meet, which we talk about the walk-in clients at the same time. Let's continue to talk about place to meet. No matter how big is your activities are, like you may be just working at home from a very small space. You maybe have a kind of like a sharing with somebody else the kitchen and doing your work, and then you maybe have a shop or you have place that maybe multiple people working in there. It doesn't matter. If you are on the level of that you welcoming people to talk to you for a consultation, you must have a tidy place with the minimalism thinking. So because the simple reason is everyone will judge your reliability with the first impression. So when they walk into your place, how tidy you are, that is you are. That's who you are. That is will be people think that who you are. So that means it's very, very important that you must have a place that with the organized with consideration. So first thing to do is you may not offering something to people, but you may just at the time that you need to offer something, you must be ready. So definitely I would suggest that you have a water dispenser. So anytime people help themselves, or you can offer them a glass of water. Go further than that. If it comes to the conversation, go in the kind of like a very sincere, very kind of like a promising kind of situation, you may offer a coffee, a beautiful coffee that which is now available, very sort of like a economical machines that you just press the button and you have coffees and always there. So that makes it like a bonding is much more in the sort of like a trusting and a sort of like a more developing stage. All right. So make sure that in your place, when you're sitting and talking with people, you don't go back and forward. First of all, so when you're welcoming them, you must make sure that you don't have an apron on it, you don't have some chocolate, flour, everything on you. So you must make sure that you are respecting your clients with your presentation, with your sort of like a well-being. All right. So no back and forwards means that throughout the conversation you will need something. Maybe you need some sort of like a piece of paper or writing something, take a note, etc. Make sure that all those things that thought and then pre-organized and everything is just within your reaching point. Like you can just put your hand there and grab this and get your hand there and grab this and everything's ready. So people, you don't say, excuse me, I'll be back soon, and then you don't go around. So you just be there and then be your customers, all right? And then make sure that all your forms are ready. Like I have a kind of like a drawer that all my forms in there. I make sure that every time that they are filled and then they are just refilled and then everything is available. So many forms that I will go through with you in the further down the track, but I just want to tell you about what this form is all about. I have definitely a proposal form, like a manual quotation form. So that is not an order form. That is only taking sort of little bit scribbles. As you see that you have I have some lines over here I can draw very easily on a piece of paper. And I can take a note like by arrowing there and then just taking some notes over here. Of course, every information of the customers in there, and also like the date, the month, the year, and very big, so I can hang something on the wall. I can see it from far away. And then lots of things, details over here. I don't want to go through it. Take too much time. All right. So that is a proposal form. That's my order form, which covers the board, the ribbon, the construction, and then additional requests, the changes, and then a list of items that which is decorations, list of cakes, is every single information in there, and then also declaration kind of part that people has to sign. That is very important when you sit down and people asking you do something, but you have to say, in the condition of you agree with me, what I'm putting you in a kind of condition of order. So that order here, conditional order, is about 15 points that I'm going to talk about in a later stage, but it is very important. It has not been done right away. It has been done when things happen. For example, there is customers that they complain about everything because they want to get the half of the money they spent for the whole wedding. They want to get back. All right. So customer is always right, but we don't have to like deal with them like we can just give them anything they want. All right. So it has to be like if you have a condition of order had been explained, and after that they will agree and sign for that, then will be customers are always happy, except about conflict of this. All right. So I have here a wedding couple order. It's a kind of like a form that I can take notes because my time that people ordering always cakes with the couples on it, that the couples has to be look like them. All right. So I take over here the hairstyle and then the sort of like the style of a gown and then the guy wearing suit, which kind of colors and everything. So I take some notes that if I have multiple orders, I'm not going to mix them up all together. All right. So I have even that little form here, Bombonier order, which requires different kind of information. So I will just fill up this one here. And I have here a form that covers the every day of the week. So what kind of orders I have. So all accumulate in one place, I can look at it and see it all together. So this kind of things this is more operational. It's nothing to do with the taking orders, but this one and that one, that one, that one, and that one will be very, very important is to be always standby. So, I'm talking about you must have ready catalogs. All right. So what I have in my consultation area, I have my 40-inch screen on the wall just beside me, about 40, sort of like 50 centimeter away. All right. So customer sitting over here, and then I look at my computer and my website. I can show them the pictures or whatever I need to do. I even make the pricing over there. All right. But you must have also a kind of like albums ready. So what albums are, I have like categorizing special cakes. So here I can just show them. I have here already like all the categories like 3D cakes and 3D C and the cars and then trucks and trains and whatever. And after that, floral cakes, number cakes and christening cakes and picture frame on cake, animals on cake, etc., etc. So they are just all here. Everything is nicely presented with a code number. That code number corresponds with the website. All right. So everything has got surprises on it. So this is not happening in one day. That happens in years, but constantly you have to update. All right. So that is all done. Here, like wearings, for example, fashion and everything. So we couldn't do Louis Vuitton, but we were able to do like initials on the backs. So that is something. So the cars and everything. Right? It will be good that when you present something like this to the customer, so they know that you have a sort of history. All right. So when we go through the wedding cakes, it's the same. We have also different categories. So normal floral cakes, and then chocolate covered cakes. So normal wedding cake, but with the chocolate cover, not with the sugar, with the fondant. All right. Couples. So all kind of couples here. There's like a kind of Scottish guy with the other woman, and here is the guy is carrying the bride, and modern kind of thing. All right. So then it's a bit more humorous ones here. I don't know. Here is just the couple is having bath, Moulin Rouge, whatever. So there's all sorts of things which again, like for example, FWC 02847. That is floral wedding cakes, the number. All right. If somewhere else, like here, floral wedding cakes, and here like a person on the cake, wedding cakes. So over here, another code number here, like profiteroles and croquant bushes. All right. So whatever. I'm not saying that you have to do it right away, but from now on, you take photos and then make an album, even that you have a website. It will be quite useful. All right. So what else having here? Colors are important. When people come and talk to you, they talk about, I want to have a fuchsia flowers, I want to have an ivory kind of like icing, etc. So colors are not really, so if you tell me ivory, I have 10 different ivories in my mind. So when I finish my cake, maybe I just end up with the light brown that you will not be happy or customer will not be happy. So that's why it's a very important to have something like this. So you have the colors here, with everyone has got the code number, all right? When you're taking order, you have color section here, you take this number and you will not going to go mistake, all right? So that's important. Another thing is a board chart. So when you have the boards, we always cover the boards with different colors of the material. So it's matching to the color of the cake. So that's why I have another catalog like this with a piece of cloth is in there. So you open up the pages, you can see all the colors. There's the code numbers. I take it up and then I write down also on the order form. There is also ribbon chart. Piece of ribbon, cut and stick on the kind of like a file like this, so they can just look at and select whatever they want. All right. Okay. Very important. When you talk about the cake, they come inside with a picture in the hand, which I'm going to talk next stage here. And then they have a request, and then but they cannot imagine the size that what you're talking about. You will say, I'm going to make you a 3-tier cake. Or he said to you, or she said to you, I like to have a 3-tier cake. So that means it's crucially important. You have some dummy cakes on the side of the table. You can build the cake approximately the size of it on the cake, on the table in front of them. So you can show them, well, I'm going to have this cake and the pillar in between, that will be this size, and then that will be this size, etc. So number of styrofoam dummy cakes on the side. It doesn't cost anything, but make sure it is available to show people how big is there, what they're getting. All right. Another thing is the portion size sample. So how easy is this that you have a bag of those little things? That is, for example, dessert portion or coffee portion. That is a wedding cake portion. That's a kind of like a small, sort of like a with the coffee serving portion. All right. So that is shows people exactly what they're going to get. How many portion they get is written on the condition of order here. How many portion they can get if they cut this size, if they cut this size, if they cut this size. So at the same time, if they say, I want to have this size cake for 50 portion, you have finished your order, you've taken everything, you have to give them one of this. So tell them, you take this, bring to your, give it to your people who are serving your cake, let them cut this cake this size, otherwise they will either shortfall or they just cut everybody's served, but there's a half of the cake still available. They don't know what to do with this. So that is a very practical way, costs nothing, but is a thought. It's a good thought that you give a portion size to people, they take with them when they confirm the order. All right, next thing is what I talk about is the request ideas where they're coming from, and all sorts of ideas is when people walk into your shop and then what they're asking for, it's a kind of different dealing necessary. So I'm going to talk about this one next. So I started making wedding cakes in 1998 in Australia. 1992 is actually I came to Australia, but I started working for my own business with my business partner. That is 1998, and then and we stopped doing that business 2015. So it's about 17 years I make wedding cakes in Australia, not counting before than that. So you can ask me what kind of customers you had. So I can tell you maybe about many different type of customers I can count. But I put about 5 most important ones in my list. So the request idea is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So start from the easiest one. Customers walk in the shop or get in front of you with a picture in the hand. So they have already pretty much knowing what they're looking for. In that case, that's the easiest and nicest customers you may have, all right? But you can't just never take the picture and then make the exactly same cake, because number of portions might be different, maybe color concept different, but with a very simple short questions that you can finalize the order without twisting too much. So in that case, do not ask questions too much, more like what they say, and then you confirm with a few words that proving that you understand what they're asking for and you are able to do it. So convincing more than giving the ideas is the idea, is the way of dealing with this kind of customer. Customer walk with the reference picture in the hand, they know what they're looking for, all right? Second set of customers are customer liked your previous design. So that is also easy, not as easy as the other one. So they're looking for your design, what you have already. sort of publish somewhere else, like maybe Facebook or your website or whatsoever. But it's also important that because the wedding cakes and special cakes very personal, so you have to still ask your questions that to change the size. I'm sure some color difference in there, so don't make sure that you don't forget any of those questions to clarify everything, finalization. All right. Then comes the sort of like a third one, which is customer have verbal description of an idea. All right. So that means they know what they're looking for, but they don't have any picture in hand. They don't have any reference picture from your website, from your designs or whatsoever. Then of course that other questions has to be asked. So about those questions we're going to talk later on the next stage. But basically these are the customers that need to have your designs, your sort of like a concept of presentation. So that is a bit more work to make the order. All right. So basically you should have a set of questions, which is we're going to talk next, and then not to forget anything, you ask them, but you have to ask them in the right order. Not that you ask them what kind of flowers you want first. That is completely on the next stage, on the also later stages that the questions have to be asked. All right. So now we're getting a little bit more difficult. Customer have only the concept but no details. So that is the one we're going to continue practicing in this 6th episode. That comes to my Romeo and Juliet cake. All right. So customer walk in and say, well, I would like to have wedding cake, and then we like to have because we've been in the Verona, which is in front of the balcony of the Romeo and Juliet. So we like to have wedding cake like this. So I've been there myself. It's just a block apartment, like a all type of place and stick to the next apartment and next building. So then building side by side, there's no gap in between, and then the balcony. It's just like a very simple place, but it's historical, so part of the story. So everybody go there, tourists, etc. I was there. It's a quite sort of like a nice, clean, very sort of romantic place. All right. So if they say that to me, that I like the Romeo and Juliet cake, that's my business to design and all those questions to be answered, how many portions, etc. So that will be designing that cake. Will be next episode. I'm going to do it in front of you. All right. So then I will talk about what question been asked and then what question been answered. We're going to go through that and then start designing the cake on the piece of paper, on the large paper also. All right. And then comes the most difficult one. All right. Customer has no idea and very undecisive. All right. I tell you a story that we've been through before a couple of times. All right. So we have a consultation room downstairs in our warehouse. And upstairs is the office, and then there's a sort of like a steps going down. I can hear every conversation what is happening downstairs. Basically, my wife Jo goes there and sit down in front of customers, and then I maybe just happen to be in the office and I'm listening what's happening. And then they're telling the stories, and then they go around the bush, and then just like over and over again the same thing. Half an hour passed. There's not a single decision been done, not even the board size and the cake, etc. Then I hear my wife from downstairs like, darling, can you just come down, please? Okay, I go down. And then I just say, hello, how are you? They are already happy to see me because I'm the one they're going to make the cake. So Joanne leave and I sit down and then asking that, hello, how are you? We're going to start all over again. All right, good. So showing first that I'm not complaining. I'm not sort of like I'm not happy, etc. They just... I just welcome them and then starting from all over again. Then I'll just start very nicely. And my first question will be round or square? And I stop. I just look at their face, and then they also stop. They also quiet for a few seconds, and they just look at each other's face and say, round. Okay, round. I just write down round. That's the first question. Second question, how many tier? And I stop. I don't ask anymore. So they also look at each other, it's their faces, and I say, I wait for the answer because I push them to give me answer or those questions one after another, but in the right order. So I'm not asking them what kind of flowers you want or what is the surface decoration, what is the concept of the cake. There's nothing to do, all right? And every time I get answer, I just draw a picture on the piece of paper about A4 size, 3 tier, okay, round cake, etc. Once the cake is already appears on the paper, then comes the other questions like the color concept and the flowers, etc. So that means when you deal with this kind of customers, you don't deal with all the cake together. You have to deal part by part in the right order. So the cake, the shape, and the number of tiers, decorations, etc., etc. So that's a kind of has to be worked out. You must have a kind of questionnaire in your mind that you have already know what to ask first. All right. So that is about that. Now, when we're talking about this kind of customers, difficulties, everything. So I like to also talk about timing. 30 minutes for me is the ideal time for consultation. More than that is probably you need to spend if the order is something more serious size, a more expensive order. All right. And then less than that, maybe for something very simple, just one tier, etc. But 30 minutes, it should be kind of like effective time to spend for that, quality time to spend for that. Appointment book, you should have. Like, the week starts on Monday. Actually, Monday you should be organizing yourself, because the week in front of you, you have to take in control what you're going to do and what kind of decorations, make your list of decorations. Maybe you have about 2-3 orders, right? Like, you make your list and then you give your instructions to your friends who is working for you or is helping you. And then that's already taking control of the week on Monday. But Tuesday is the best day because the week is still with the fresh days. You have still another Wednesday, Thursday, because most of the weddings and most of the sort of like a party is happening most of the time in Saturday, Sunday. So you have a little bit less work on the beginning of the week. Not Monday, but Tuesday for me was the best day to take appointments to talk with the customers. So appointment book means that you give them let's say so we're talking about half an hour, but if you have too many requests, then you make it like 1.5 hours in between. So you can take a really, really good time to do this. All right. And when I said that specific day was the Tuesday, my recommendation. All right. So next thing, what we're going to talk here now is what kind of questions you have to ask to your customers. First question is number of portion or the size. So these two is completely related to each other. Sometimes it's like a scaling from one side go up, one side go down. You know, just you have to find this one really, really nice at the first stage. Number of portions is depending of that which size they're expecting, and then the size of the cake is also most of the time when I get a little bit of sort of like a hit the wall with the customers, I ask them, could you please tell me the height of the cake with this? So that I said that this is the table about 70 centimeter height from your according to your body height. Especially I asked the ladies for that, because when they're standing, they want to imagine like my cake is about here or about there or whatsoever. And I said them, so this is the table, 70 centimeter. Show me this one, how you want the cake. All right, they say, oh, I want to have this one. Okay, this is about, that maybe end up about 300 portion, but you have only 60 people. You know what I mean? So that is something like has to be decided in the very first stage. So they're looking for a size, or they're looking for a cake that portion served and the cake is finished, maybe just a couple of portion left. So that is important to find out what's going on with this. All right. So gaining height with dummy or pillars, that is a question mark. Also, if you end up that they're asking for a large cake, but they don't have enough people, of course, the best thing to do, adding some dummy cakes, also using pillars in between to make the cake higher on that level, what they're looking for. All right. Number of tiers, of course, is like a 2 or 3 tier or 5 tier or whatsoever. So it depends on the number of portion, etc. That's also important. So when this point, number of tiers, you can always refer to your size guide, which is, I have it here. You can also find this one in the Generous Way website, which is, you can find this in our website, that it's free. All right. So you can show them from here, all right, all those cakes. So anything will be done with the pillar in between, of course, there's no pillars exist here. All right. Or what I have here, that is I'm going to go through this one very, very detailed in the pricing episode number 3. So we have here, I have Excel. Excel is my best friend with this one. Everything I do with Excel in previously. So I have here wedding and anniversary cakes to the same size. So I have like the height of the cake. I have the width of the cake, or round or square or rectangular. I have a liter. How many liters is the cake? How many portion is this one according to that size? 3 by 2 by 1 inch. All right. So it's already over 0.09 liter each portion. And after that is the $3.10 that time we're charging for each portion. There's a price over here. So you can build from here according to number of portion, according to the how much they're looking for. This is later, episode 3. All right. General concept is what we're talking about. Like, you see, I have about 10 different wedding cake concepts: floral, non-floral, humorous, and then like environmental designs and all those things. So they have to choose kind of that area. It could be like a modern abstract, sort of like a cake that which is quite trendy now with this, like all those gold side and this, etc. So with the also stenciling whatsoever. So if they come up with the category, that's good, that because you have some sort of direction what to do. Color wise, the question of colors, of course, this one we talked about it. Flavor, allergy issues, that's a very, very important thing. It's one of the condition of order items. So you have to ask them if there's anybody in the invited guest list had allergy with the almonds or peanuts or whatsoever. That has to be always spoken, right? Is to be deal with that, right? So when these questions had been asked, like how high is it, how big is the cake, if you feel like there's a budget sort of important, it's not a nice question to ask that, how much budget do you have, but sometimes necessary to make it like a honestly asking, sort of like being like very sort of bold and like a sincere, that I would like to do according to your budget, and then I think I can also do more than that. Please, can you indicate how much is your frame, like from how much to how much would you like to spend, so we can just save time that to do it, but just do it nicely, all right? So this has to be in the last point, fussiness level, take note. So if there's a customer that is very fussy and then asking a lot of questions which doesn't make sense, you take it note. So when dealing with them next time for some other orders, you have some sort of indication before. All right. What is the source of visit? So where they're coming from, which we have looked on the first bullet point, but take a note, because that will give you the good idea of where to spend the money for advertising. So that has to be also not missed to ask, all right? Decorations, choice of flowers, everything else comes after, so that will be okay, all right? So let's talk about, before finish, the cake sampling and then the second appointment. Cake sampling is a very important issue that shows how serious you are with your business and how much you're giving yourself to customer that make them understand what they're gonna get. All right. So slice of cake, just a little piece, it costs nothing, but makes a lot of difference for customer to like you. All right. So normally what we have another catalog, which is the diagrams is drawn that all the cakes available from side view, like how many layers of sponge in there, what kind of creams in there, what kind of condiments in there. Everything is like in shows on this booklet. All right. But having said that, if you give them an actual taste, that makes so much different. So if you have like 10 different flavors, but you will give them the most favorite, your favorite 2 or 3 different flavors, giving as a kind of tasting there with a cup of coffee. If things get quite serious, like when you understand that the order is coming through, you feel that it's going to happen, or just about happen, but you need to have give some taste that will makes a difference. You do that. So what I have a little mini bar at the consultation area. I don't leave the room and go around, cut some cakes, etc. I have always little cut portion, maybe just about half of this, all right, and then I pack them into little cellophane paper, transparent, with a little sticker on it, so you can just remove and open up and eat. So if I have that ready portions pre-packed in the little box for a week use, like small little box should be more than enough, because you don't give tasting to everybody, all right? So after that, you also offer a cup of coffee, and that is really good gesture, all right? And then that most of the time is I remember that if I give sampling, that turns the order right away. All right. So because I trust my mud cake, I trust my white mud cake, I trust my almond orange Jaffa cake, and that is all those things that I really love to. Even that I give small pieces of fruit cake, which is I'm very proud of it, because we have about 9 different candied fruit inside this fruit cake, and it is already everything homemade. It's fantastic. All right. So even that, when the sampling been done, you may just ask, would you like to take some samples home to give it to your mother, or give it to your father, or give it to your fiance? You know, that is such a good gesture. So they take home and then let them taste by the family members, which probably can pay the money. So that is also a very good idea to give them some samples to take home. All right. At the end of those consultations, ideas that what I already spoken with you till now, the second appointment is important, because it's also belongs to every marketing style, right? If you approaching someone to sell something, if it didn't get through, you make sure you leave the place with the second appointment. All right. So that means you tell them, fixing a date, maybe next Tuesday or whatsoever. So you tell them about the drawing. You're going to do a drawing life size. Till then, you just made the small drawings if you don't have time to make the big one in front of them. All right. So you tell them about the drawings. When they come back, they're going to see the life size drawing. That is important. And also tell them about you will be ready for changes. So all those things what you spoken, and then design is already fixed and everything understood. But they may go back and then rethink about it, sleep over it, and then they just want to come back with another idea, and then they've been just hesitating to bother you to start all over again. Give them the assurance that before they leave the first appointment, you will be ready to change the whole idea when they come back with another idea. So that is nothing a problem. All right. So you're going to spend another 15 minutes probably, but you're going to take an order probably maybe $500-600. Who knows? All right. Now, I think I have spoken enough about the consultation. Maybe I talk a little bit too much, but if you like, please press forward. You don't have to listen to everything on your next episodes. I will never get angry with you. Don't worry about it. So far, we met our wedding couple first time. They have a specific request, which is the Romeo and Juliet cake. So they believe in us and that we can fulfill their expectation. Next, we have to prove them with our visual offer that we can deliver what they're looking for. So a life-size drawing in details, which we are going to work and talk about on it in our next episode. So thank you so much for watching. God bless you all. Until then, bye for now.